change. It is no longer just a single truck in a single session. It's a good old-fashioned race. Not a long one at that, only an 80-lapper on deck, but this is interesting because we're going to see some familiar names, certainly. Drivers who we've seen on other iRacing special events, through other iRacing World Championship Series events, but there may be other drivers in the field who we have not, Keaton. It's going to be exciting to see how they can mix into the field here, all chasing down that first-place prize, which is valued at over $2,000.
Yeah, that's going to include Thrustmaster's brand new T818 direct drive wheelbase, 10 Newton meters of unfiltered force directly to your wrists and palms. And using that quick release on that wheel, it's going to come with two wheelbases, an Evo and a TM open wheel rim base. So whether you're an open wheel driver, we've seen Bobby Zelensky use an open wheel in the Cup car. So two wheelbases to choose from, an excellent set of pedals with a TLCM load cell pedals, TH8A shifter, one of the best shifters on the market, something that I'm pretty stoked about, a TSS handbrake, and on top of that, a $50 iRacing gift card to maybe dip your toes in some of the new content that came out just last week.
And while that top prize is the highlight, there is still something. If you finish second and third in this race, they'll both get a $25 iRacing gift card, but they will also walk away with the T818 racing wheelbase. So maybe the starting point for those drivers on completely redefining their sim rig. But you're right, you win this thing, you're talking about a top to bottom overhauling of the sim rig that you've got with you at home. Let's talk about this Charlotte Motor Speedway. We mentioned it's in NASCAR's backyard. It is a place that we are not a stranger to. This racetrack clocks in at 1.5 miles in length, 24 degrees of banking in the corners.
Yep, big banking here as well. It's going to be a fast race, a lot of left foot, a lot of right foot, sorry, big throttle here. It's going to be really close to not like a super speedway, not a whole lot of places to move around. Tires will be a factor towards the little to later the run. But as you said too, not a stranger here, a very, very familiar venue to those who have been in the oval service in iRacing, who have participated and watched a lot of the sport. So this is not at all an unproven crucible, an unproven. I forgot the word for Coliseum, and that said Coliseum. I'm genius. We're doing great.
It still counts, right? And the point is proven. And one thing we'll be looking at over this race is you'll see drivers seeded based on their truck numbers, how they qualified into this through the time attack. So the number one truck could be the number one seed based on those qualifying runs. But we have actual race qualifying that is wrapped up in session. So not only did you have to qualify on time attack to get to this race, well, then you had to qualify all over again. So let's go trackside and introduce you to them. And let's take a look at our Thrustmaster starting grid here tonight from Concord. And it will be Elliot Drummond who will start from pole. He gets a 38.19. That bests them all. And the number 3 seated truck gets pole. He'll be joined by the 17 machine of Michael Romanidis on the outside of the front row in second. Jake Nichols and Eric Heater going to make up row 2. They'll start in third and fourth position, with Garrett Vitton and Aaron Raymond starting from P5 and P6. Christopher Schella starts in 7th tonight. It'll be Chris Janke to the outside of row number 4 and P8. And then rounding out your top 10, it'll be P9 for Justin Gahn, and it is Spencer Owens through P10.
Starting the back half of the field, Jake Cummings and Matt Spalding will be 11th and 12th. And right behind them, familiar names, Logan Clampett, Brandon Hawken will be filling out this 7th row. Behind them, Johnny Avila, Adam Garza will be 15th and 16th. And on the back row, a surprise, Shane Williamson of the 20 truck and the number 1 truck of Alexander White will be taking the final spot on the grid. So even just the difference right there, they had months and a bunch of time and ability to practice and be able to get good qualifying laps in. But when the pressure was on, Alex was not able to convert that to a pole. So he'll be starting all the way from the back, trying to get up to the front and see if he can't take home all that good Thrustmaster gear.
And the qualifying procedure allowed as many as the top 30 qualifiers to be here, looking at 18 on the grid. That may change some of the strategy. The bottom 6 trucks did not take a time to qualify to maybe thinking avoid some of the chaos. Maybe not the case with a smaller field. We take a look at our Thrustmaster race analysis. As mentioned, 80 laps, 120 miles around this racetrack. The big thing that I want to highlight kind of trickles down towards the bottom, right? Fuel window is enough to make it on a one-stopper if we go green, and the fact that it is a fixed setup race through the field.
Another thing to think about too is this isn't a pro series. These drivers are from all over the service, a bunch of different levels of skill in here, maybe not familiar with driving with each other. So the chances of this race going green, it very well could, especially with the 18 truck count, but I'm going to say highly unlikely. Especially when you have those drivers that were starting at the back, they may see oh, there's not a whole lot of trucks here. I have a chance at this. Even if it's not for first, for second, or for third, there's still a direct drive wheelbase on the line for every position on the podium.
There's a lot on the line, and we're happy that you're spending your evening with us on the iRacing Sports Network. Pace car down and in. Elliott Drummond in control. Let's go racing at Charlotte.
Good start for your pole sitter, Elliott Drummond, getting out to the front. Is going to be controlling the field, going into 1-2 truck breakaway there as we are side by side the whole way back. Just starting to file out here. Again, 80 laps. No one would want to get super aggressive off the start, but are your pole sitter taking it right to turn 3 and being able to control the field?
And it was a quick move to the number 2 spot as the inside was the place to be. Nichols went 3rd to 2nd. Vinton went 5th to 3rd. So the inside got the better start. They're 3 wide back in the pack at the end of lap number 1 as your pole sitter Drummond leads after the first mile and a half.
That's what I was worried about, is those drivers starting towards the middle of the field, towards the back of the field, seeing what they need to do right in front of them. You've seen it with on dirt oval racing and stuff where there's a cutoff line. They know that there's a cutoff line in the top 3. They're not just racing for the win here, and that's something we'll have to keep in mind throughout the night. But you see right now, the first couple of groups of trucks, all single file. They already know what they need to do. The trucks towards the middle, you're certainly seeing it right about at the Justin Gann top 10 area, or 2 or 3 wide there for a minute, but 2 wide just trying to get cycled in. And a lot of race left to go, but a lot of things that you could pick up with the field so close already.
That 13 car topside is Justin Gann, kind of the seafoam green Chevrolet. Those truck colors will match those colors on your leaderboard left-hand side of your screen. If you're trying to find where the driver you're rooting for or interested in is running in the field. The top 7 or 8 or so have gotten single filed out. This is the first battle of 2x2 that sees the 2 of Logan DeClampett on the inside of Jake Cummings in a battle for P6.
Have to keep an eye on that number 2 as well. To deny his experience would be a rookie mistake. Logan Clampett, obviously one of the most experienced drivers in the oval discipline on the iRacing service, former NASCAR driver, wins under his belt. But keep an eye on that number 2, and there's going to be somebody that I will be looking at for the rest of the night, seeing what they go, as we are side by side for the lead already.
Battle is on up at the front of the field. Drummond has had it from the get-go, but high, wide, and handsome goes Jake Nichols. Makes the pass on the outside into 1 and 2, and he will put that Thrustmaster Toyota, I should say, to the race lead. And now Garrett Vinton going to double up. He'll go inside of the 3 car, and your pole sitter Drummond going to get split high and low. He falls to 3rd, and Nichols gets his first lap led of the day with 5 laps down.
Yeah, again, there's going to be a little bit different strategies now. I've got to imagine some drivers are imagining this is not going to go green the whole way. They're going to use their tires early on and try to get up to the front. We talked about Logan Clampett a little bit. He's up to 4th. He's at the tail end of that top 3 little breakaway. They pulled away a little bit, but not quite. Maybe just trying to settle down here again as we ride along board here with the 18 of Jake Cummings at the end of that, right in the middle of that field, at 6th place. So there's a little bit feisty behind him, but who's using their tires early on? Who's going to try and ride this out and make sure they get all of that tire run before green flag pit stops, if we even get there? And another thing to think about too, Evan, is that if we get yellow flag conditions towards the end of this race, there is no overtime. There are no green-white checkers. It is right towards the end of the race, and basically old-style NASCAR rules if we hit a yellow in the late parts of this event.
Yeah, that caveat is very much an anomaly in modern-day oval racing on the surface. Takes you back to before that was an option here on the sim. And you're right, if we do have a yellow late, we will not have an opportunity to go back green if we get there. This mid-pack, though, racing like we just dropped the green flag. Aggressive stuff from the 10 of Avila and back. You got Christopher Schella there as well, Adam Garza. They've basically been 2 by 2, maybe 4 rows deep at times. Ever since this race got underway, the mid-pack in these trucks not going to break up as much as the leaders will, so it's no shock that you start in the midfield. This is the headache you have to deal with.
21 and Brandon Hawken there just tapping the wall. The Canadian trying to make it work on the outside. Chris Janke riding on board with as well, back in the melee right behind Brandon. And again, it reminds me a lot of the World Outlaws series stuff, where the first couple of cars will pull away and kind of realize what their goal is for the race. Well, okay, let's chill out. We got a lot of laps left, and we're in the money. A lot of these trucks, 14th, 15th, are seeing that slip away. And again, if this goes green the whole way, they're only getting farther and farther away. So they're trying to almost make desperation moves. Only 10 laps into this 80-lap race. Nothing that has put anybody at jeopardy yet, but definitely seeing that the difference of pacing towards the front and the rear of the field, as they are feisty here towards the rear.
And you can count that leaderboard 1st through 18th position. They're all within about 2 seconds of each other. Nobody has dropped out of this lead pack yet. They are all in the mix. And here's a good look at Heater, who has slipped back from 4th where he started, currently scored P9, trying to be defensive, but that 21 car, Brandon Hawken, picked up 2 spots last lap. He wants to get a 3rd. That blue 21 topside going way up to the outside wall in 1 and 2, but it's going to allow him to carry a ton of speed off the corner, and that's another spot gain for the 21 car, who is on the move.
Can't say I'm too surprised. Brandon's pretty well versed in almost everything there is to be versed in the sim. The Canadian up towards the top side, getting kind of the door shut by Johnny Avila now ahead of him as he's leading that group of the back half of the field. Brandon's so experienced, everything he touches. I've seen this dude wheel Miatas, prototypes, open wheel cars. As we move, there's a little bit of a stack up in front of him now, as you see that. Couple cars in the little bit of a melee there as Logan's leading the field, but he's got Drummond right behind him, Romanditis right behind him as well, so maybe not as calm towards the front of this ship as we thought.
It was Clampett and Drummond who got side by side. They slowed each other down, and then, to your point, it forced the likes of Romanditis and Gann and Cummings to kind of check up and almost caused a stack up. And in turn number 1, they get back to single fire, looking off of the back end of Logan and Clampett. Clampett was the 3rd fastest truck in practice earlier tonight, but did not take a time in qualifying. Started based on a provisional back in 13th spot. He's driven his way to 3rd, and look at the big block from behind. That was Drummond trying to go low to seal off the challenge, but it was Romanditis who got the position. A little bit tight in the corner. That blue 17 has to wait for the moment. And now let's see what can the 3 do, because Drummond is plastered on the deck lid of the 2. And I just saw Gann go through the grass that time on the front straightaway.
And nobody told these guys this race was 80 laps, right? We told them it was 8.
Apparently.
Also, big fan of Logan's interpretation of the term lucky dog. That's not quite what it means, Logan, but I'm just working out for him. He's currently in that top 3 position. And again, he's going to be getting himself a new wheelbase if he can hold it there. I can't say I'm surprised he's already moved his way up the field, but I'm going to keep an eye on Logan for the terms of how the race is going. And we talked about pit strategy a little bit. We talked about how these drivers are going to use their tires. If Logan's blasted his way all the way up there already, as you know, the fight for the lead is absolutely not over. Vinton looking up towards the high line, not quite making it work. These 2 are pulling away a little bit, Evan. Got about 4/10 of a lead on that number 2 track.
Yeah, that's what we were going to see from it. And a caution flag. Trouble behind the race leaders. Spinning is the 5 of Adam Garza. And we do get caution flag number 1 on the afternoon. Just when maybe we thought we were getting away from a lot of the early race chaos, we saw the 5 car into the inside wall. It'll be yellow flag number 1. Last time by the stripe, Garza was scored in position number 11, so not really shocking that this is going to come right from that hornet's nest. We'll wait for the replay before we make any judgment.
Yeah, again, we're going to take a look at it when we have a minute, but there was something brewing there for a while. I believe it also involved the 23 machine of Chris Janke. As you take a look at the replay, he's coming off the corner. The 23 takes a look to the inside of the 5, and I'm not sure if he came up or the 5 came down, but maybe just a meeting of the minds there. Both kind of going for the same piece of real estate. Unfortunate for the 5, but he just kind of lightly, you can see that truck's not all that damaged and the field's not all that big. So got back in the pits, maybe see what he could do about that damage, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that 5 towards the middle or the front of the pack by the end of the race.
Another thing to note when we talked about our Thrustmaster race analysis was that there were no tire set limits. So a little bit of a green flag run behind us. Looks like wholesale service coming up next. Every single truck down pit road at 45 miles an hour. They're going to be in for service. Here's a good perspective again down the backstretch. it almost looks like the 5 came down a little bit when the 23 went inside. I think his argument will be you could have given me more spot and not kind of pinched me up as much, but maybe that slightest bit of movement is what caused that accident. I think we're pretty thankful it was only those 2 cars. Pit road service going to be pretty much uniform throughout the field. Looks like 4 tires and fuel is the call. Jake Nichols comes in from the lead. He'll lead pit road still on the exit.
You know, biggest mover there, Logan Clampett, moving down 2 spots down to 5th. Wonder if maybe there's some fuel strategy being played here. I don't think they can make it quite yet if they take a full tank, but again, if that happened towards the rear, that basically with 2 trucks, as Jake Nichols still in control of the field as we get him calmed down a little bit. There should be about 60 laps to go, give it with some change, when we go green flag and get this race back underway.
Just seeing what maybe the damage is for Garza. That truck is still on pit road, so obviously trying to get it fixed. There's almost kind of no runoff or apron there on the backstretch. That inside of ball is pretty close. You get turned sideways like that, it doesn't give you much opportunity to slow down. The good news for Garza is, as the leaders pace by the start-finish line, the 5 is going to leave the box and blind back out. So actively good enough to be able to, he thinks, at least stay on the lead lap in this race. He's not forced to stay down for required repairs, and he will simply drive around and catch up to the tail end of the field this time through, where he will cycle into P18 and at least maybe hope for a couple more yellows later on in this one to get that thing fixed up a little bit more. Mentioned off at the top again, that fuel window in the 48 to 52 lap range gave us the possibility of a 1-stopper tonight. However, early yellow in this one means we'll take the green with 62 to go. So I don't think at this point, Keenan, inside of that window just quite yet.
No, I thought maybe you might see some people try and stretch it, take a full tank, and to see what they could do. But another quick yellow might bring that topic of conversation up. But with 60 laps in a 52-lap window, it would take a wizard of fuel saving to try and make that work out. But we are lined up, double file once again, coming at a 3. And we have the lights off on our iRacing pace car. We'll get this underway once again at lap 19 as we have 61 laps remaining.
So Jake Nichols has led for 13. He's led to more laps than anybody else so far tonight. Garrett Vitton going to be on the outside of the front row as we look for the restart. It'll put 18 laps behind us, 62 to go. The field will go on the 4 truck as they head to the restart zone. Controlled truck inside for Jake Nichols. Green flag back in the air. A huge bit of tire spin for Garrett Vitton, who has to hit the eject button, goes to the outside 3 wide and loses all kinds of spots as he struggles now to catch up.
Garrett got the jump, but just couldn't make it stick. Cold tires on the rear of that number 14 machine. He's going to drop like a rock all the way back to 13th position from the front row. So he is now a non-factor in this race. We'll have to see if he can work his way back up there. But that outside line trying to make something happen about the fourth place area. Michael Romandaitis is now going to be in control of the outside line and trying to make something happen and get up to those top 3 as Logan Clampett has already got his way back to 3rd.
Clampett to 3rd, thought about more. 3 wide now in the battle for P4. It's Romanitis in the middle. The 10 of a violet to the outside of the racetrack. And inside is Justin Gann. There is push draft help to the bottom as that 21 of Brandon Hawken will push the 13 truck clear of both trucks to his outside.
Still 3 wide as we think. I think the 17 thinks better of it. Michael Romandaitis backing out. So great move from Johnny Avila. 3 wide to the outside. It's going to see himself break into the top 5. Brandon Hawkins still trying to make it work on the bottom as there's your top 3 nose to tail. Again, I don't know if they're going to fight all that hard, especially but the 17 gets turned. The 17 gets turned off the nose of the 18 and we are under caution once again. I don't know how long that was going to work with 3 wide. They were 3 wide again. I think the 17 just got, I'm going to have to check the replay, but it looks like the 17 of Michael Romandaitis saw that they were 3, truck to his outside, maybe didn't expect it, turned down, and caught the 18, and into the inside wall they go.
Second incident of the race, and they both happen on almost the same spot on track. Context around this one different. But it ends the same with the truck into the inside wall. This case, the 17 and the 18, and let's watch. They're 3 wide through the corner. That's the 18 of Cummings on the bottom, the 17 of Romanitis in the middle, and the pink 26 topside is Heater. And yeah, that was a good look behind them. I don't know if the 17 got spooked a little bit as they came off the turn, but he very clearly pulled it down away from the 26, then encroached on the line of the 18 truck, and it turned them both around into the wall.
Yeah, nothing that Jake Cummings could have done there, unfortunately, for both of them. We talked about Adam Garza not getting too much damage, but the right rear of this 17 machine of Michael Romanitis is going to need some hammers and some sawzalls, I think, if they want to get that fixed. And you see, again, unlimited tires, as you said, but we are now seeing a separation of pit strategy. We've got 7 trucks heading the pit road. Everybody else is choosing to stay out.
Yeah, curious if this is that group who feels like, all right, restart's going to be at about 56 to go. Based on how things are going, maybe we get some more yellows. Maybe this is the start of that strategy conversation. We'll see. It looks like it's 7 trucks total towards the rear of the field who come in for service. But Jake Nichols has been up front for the most of this race. He continues to lead. Still a long way to go. When we come back to Charlotte, you're watching the Thrustmaster Time Attack on iRacing Live. And back live at iRacing's virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, where our coverage of the 2024 Thrustmaster Time Attack continues, getting set for a restart as we creep in on halfway home in this 80-lap and 120-mile contest. Happy that you're with us alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Keenan Kusin in the iRacing Live booth. Couple of incidents early in this one, but maybe an inkling of fuel strategy enters the conversation, Keenan, as everybody else is trying to chase down Jake Nichols. But I will say, if there's one driver who I think could probably do it, it's going to be that 2 truck who's starting right alongside him. Logan Clampett has driven his way through the field from 13th, and for the first time will restart on the front row.
We'll see if he can make something happen on the outside of that front row, as you said, Evan, but all those trucks that have pitted under that caution about 10th on back, again, limited tire sets. Why not? You're already back there. That nothing paying out for 11th on back. It is just the top 3 who are taking prizes home today. Might as well roll the dice and see what happens. I know we're in Charlotte, not Las Vegas. But as they come towards the green flag here, we've got just about 25 laps on the board, so we are nearing slowly and surely halfway going into this race, about a quarter of the way through as the pace car peels down pit road.
Nichols did not get a good jump last time, but it was the truck that was outside who had it worse with the tire spin. This time, it's money for the 4. Big advantage. Nichols leads to 1, and a quick move. Clampett slices to the inside to protect for P2.
Matt Spalding's going to get a horrible start and drop down to 14th position, but single file for the first 4 or 5 trucks as Brandon Hawkins trying to make something on the outside and then dips back in and slotting back into 5th position. I wonder if the field's going to calm down a little bit. We got 2. No, as I say that, Logan Clampett to the bottom, going for the lead on Jake Nichols.
Logan Clampett is yet to lead a lap tonight. Nichols has led 20. This time it'll go in favor of the 4, but the 2 truck has got position on the bottom. How does Elliott Drummond play into this conversation? Does he push either of these trucks when they come down the backstretch and give them an advantage? Nose to nose, you go on board with the 3. Drummond has got the best seat in the house. Toyota, Chevy, Ford running 1, 2, and 3. And for the moment, the outside seems to be a pretty good defensive lane for Jake Nichols.
Getting the runs off the corners, trying to keep the number 2 behind him, but Logan is not giving up. Still got just a nose in on that number 4 machine as the number 3 of Elliott Drummond. So going to take a look on the outside now. Logan kind of lost his spot on Jake. He's just kind of getting it towards the center of the corner. And as the exit, he's on behind the right rear. Is going to just slot in between the Jake and Elliott Drummond. Back to single file, but that is a driver who's got tons of experience. There was just one width there for the number 2 machine, and he made it work. Back to the bumper of Jake Nichols.
No hesitation for Clampett. Made that quick slicing move, high to low to protect P2 off of the restart, and then really forced it to fit in between the 4 and the 3 trucks, their topside, to not find himself dealing with the challenge from Drummond at first, second, and third, single file for a moment in time. The battle is for P4 behind them. The 26 of Eric Heater to the outside of Johnny Avila on the bottom of the racetrack. They're pretty much nose to nose. In the mid-pack, the outside is where the moves have been made. Avila has been working off of the restart, looking for his second spot gained. He's got it at the stripe, not yet clear though. How pesky can that 10 truck get by staying to the inside?
I like that word, pesky. He was just he was outside 3 before we went to yellow, so he's not afraid to try to put that nose in and try to make some positions up, but he's not going to get it done this time on the 26 machine of Eric Heater. Johnny Avila, again, no fear, realizing that, hey, I got to get towards the front here. We are 30 laps and the stripe out of our 80 tonight. And those top 3, I don't know if they've settled down, but they, again, are just pulling away just a little bit on the rest of the field as he takes another look to the inside of the 26 machine.
So the 26 just made the move topside, but the 10 feels like there is still something to be had on the bottom. You can see plenty more 2 by 2 through the midfield, but the highest battle is this one for 4th. Is Avila trying to avenge his position that Heater had taken away a couple of laps ago, and this time it's Hawken, who's not as much of a spectator as he is a participant, because to the outside of the 21 right now is the 13 of Justin Gann, so he's kind of locked into a pack right now. There's a truck in front of him, next to him, and behind him. There's a good look at that second lane formed up. They are 2 by 2, make it 4 rows deep or so.
Eric Heater sailed it in turn 2 that time. He got a bunch of distance on Johnny Avila, but that is going to wear out his right front, but it's not going to work this time. Again, they're just pushing so hard. And if you're Jake, Logan, and Elliott, if you're the 2, 4, and 3 machines, you must be looking in your mirror with a big smile on your face right now. The harder these drivers fight, the more they work, the easier your job is going to be. They are side by side basically the entire way back towards this field now, and all they really have to do is just get nose to tail and almost have a holding pattern. Y'all can fight in the last 10 laps and go for that big prize in first place. But if you can just make sure the 3 of you are there, that is the best thing that you can do. So these guys behind them got to settle down and look at that there's a bigger prize at stake here.
Yeah, that 3 is kind of an important blocker. Not that he's had to put any moves, but he is kind of the enforcement that holds those top 3 cars from being single file, and right now is keeping the battles behind him. And that really just comes down to speed out of the 3 truck, not necessarily actual defensive moves on track. You can see again, the 26 and the 10 are going to keep fighting, and it's behind into the outside wall. More trucks involved, and they're going to wad up a handful of them.
Yeah, I think that one was not. That one was a bit more of an overzealous move towards the outside. Kind of hard to tell. We went 3 wide once again, and unfortunately, we had a lot of luck tonight with it being 1 and 2 truck incidents. Not this time, as we are under caution for the 3rd time this evening, with 34 of 80 laps complete.
Thought at first that might have been our battle between Heater and Avila. That's a pink and a green car in that battle. But the contact was between the green 13 of Gann and the purple 23 of Chris Janke. Janke had incentive to apply the pressure. He was the lead truck of those who had come down pit road under the last yellow and pitted. Got a little bit more fuel, got fresh tires again with no limits, so was driving through the field. And I think in defense of the 13 car there again, we'll see the 23 just kind of pops up to his outside on the exit of 2. You're not typically expecting a truck to make that kind of a move at that spot mid-corner.
Yeah, especially on exit 2, there's not a whole lot you can do if you're that truck in the middle. If you've already committed to running wide in the exit and already committed to pushing out wide, when somebody sticks their nose in on exit, you're kind of just doing what the truck's doing. You can't lift, you can't brake. That just is what it is. You take a look, the 23 gets a huge run and tries to make it work on the outside, but the 13 is already pushing up towards the track, spins off the nose of the 23. Then unfortunately, that's the one also involved of Alexander White, or your number 1 seed into this race. The 21 is Spencer Owens that said, thanks for the race, I'm out of here. So I don't know if his truck is too damaged to continue. But everybody once again now on pit road. So whatever strategy we had earlier on has been thrown out the window as we near that pit window a little bit more. Let's take another look at it, Evan.
Yeah, the 20 gets a big hit there simply just by trying to yield low to avoid it. That was Shane Williamson. Again, we've kind of gotten away with the last couple of wrecks, only 1 or 2 involved, but that's at least 4 or 5 of them that pick up some damage. Owens notably was the pink number 29 car topside who got collected. He lost the engine on that truck, was forced to tow to pit road. So I think even if he wants to stay in this race, and just right on cue to the garage, his night is done. I think we're always going to be, he would have been multiple laps down anyways. And we do have a change for the lead under the yellow flag. Elliott Drummond wins the race off of pit road, and your pole sitter in the 3 will go back to the top spot. Clampett maintains P2, while the dominant truck of the afternoon in Jake Nichols loses and will end up in 3rd.
Yeah, especially under yellow, it's kind of odd to see that much of a significant change towards the front. But any order of these top 3 trucks, I think, have it all figured, like not at all figured out, but have it figured out. It seems like they fight a little bit towards the first couple of laps of green and then go, okay, let's let everybody go 2 and 3 wide behind us and just calm down. And that's what's kept them clean and kept them out of the hornet's nest of every position behind them. And it's getting closer and closer, especially as we start losing trucks now, of those drivers that are hungry, that are trying to push towards the front. But the top 3 remains the same. Eric Heater was trying to make it happen on the outside now. He was killing us right front, but now he's got 4 brand new tires, as well as the rest of the field, trying to make something happen on the outside. Now, that outside position, as long as you're not taking a super wide arc into the corner, it looks like it's got great drive off the corner as well. So this could be close as we come towards the green here.
And the unlimited tires thing is to me what I think will make us see less of the fuel strategy, right? If you can certainly, for the drivers who pitted to the yellow part of this, you probably could have stayed out, saved fuel, and made it to the end. But if everyone's coming for tires all the time, doesn't matter if you can make it on fuel, you need the tires to keep up with them. Again, you take a look at the prizes that are on the line here tonight. Grand prize over $2,000 worth of Thrustmaster products at a full T818 full kit. That includes everything from the wheels to the pedals and everything in between. You'll also get a T818 base and a $25 iRacing gift card if you can round out the podium in 2nd and 3rd. 4 laps shy of halfway home. What could Elliott Drummond do? Back in the race lead. Into the restart zone we go. Green flag back in the air.
Great start from Drummond. He's going to gap the field. He got a little loose like we've seen before, but was able to hold it. 3-4 truck length lead over the rest of the field now as Logan Clampett and Jake Nichols are side by side for 2nd, almost dooring each other in 1 and 2. Logan's going to try to make something happen on the edge of the corner, but it's Elliott Drummond being shot out of a cannon and going off to an early lead here on our restart.
We saw Logan Clampett try to make a pass for the race win on the bottom of the racetrack at the 4 car. He could not do it. In that battle, the top side was supreme. How does it shake out now that it's a role reversal with the 2 car top side? Same ending. Outside the better defensive lane, Clampett stays 2nd, Nichols 3rd. Here comes Eric Heater trying to get to the outside of the 4 car as they come off at turn 2.
Finally gets it done on Johnny Avila. I thought they were destined to fight forever, but he's got a new victim now, and that's Jake Nichols in the 4 machine as Logan Clampett now trying to take a look to the outside of Elliott Drummond. It was going to happen with the draft. They were going to catch up to that leader, and Logan Clampett looking all over the backside of Elliott Drummond, but we are still side by side with Eric Heater and Jake Nichols for 3rd place. Again, that is the last position where you're in the money, so to speak. There is a brand new wheelbase as the 10 gets a little bit loose behind them as we ride on board with them. But Eric Heater making it work to the outside and joining Logan Clampett and Elliott Drummond in those top 3 positions.
And just a little bit of apron that time in 1 and 2 for Avila. That transition from the 24-degree banked corners to the flat was enough to upset the 10 truck, and that's why he got out of shape and why that 21 of Brandon Hockett is able to make the pass. I think the set of Avila is probably pretty fortunate. It wasn't more than just that one spot. Behind them is going to be the next battle. 11 of Aaron Raymond. Top side on the 14 of Gary Vitton. And top side again wins out. Utilizing those runs off the corners seems to, at least early in this race, be the better lane.
And Aaron Raymond not going to settle. He's still trying to look towards the outside of Johnny Avila, as Garrett Vitton pretty well, maybe with the exception of Matt Spalding, the back end of the field now. I'm not sure if the rest of the trucks back there are carrying damage, or maybe somebody got a bad restart, but there is a little bit of separation. So basically, these trucks, these top 9, top 10 trucks are who are going to be in competition. As if we don't get another caution, which the way they've been driving, especially fifth on back, could very well happen. As Garrett trying to see if he can look to the outside now, of Aaron trying to look to the outside of Johnny Avila. Johnny Avila has been just trying to ride this, the low line. No, actually, Garrett getting the wall there. He's going to keep it together, but now he's falling into the clutches of Matt Spalding in the 19 machine.
He tried to knock the fence down as he came off of turn 4, just got tight, and Matt Spalding checked up, got into the rear of him. They're fortunate that that one wasn't an accident. They continue to race on and battle on as they race off of turn number 2, but that's a pretty decent lick for Vitton. We'll see if it seems to hinder the 14 at all. And now look at this. That's your top 7 or so. Single file train with the exception of Raymond. He's just trying to take the HOV lane on the right-hand side and pass them all. He's got the 10. He's got the 21. How many more can Aaron Raymond do? He is moving topside in that green Chevy.
If you've got speed, might as well try and make it work. Again, I think that, especially with the separation towards the back half of the field, this race is going to calm down a little bit now. But Aaron Raymond not trying to leave that to chance. Eric Heater now trying to block the top lane. We've seen him be so fast there throughout the whole night. But Aaron has a ton of speed in this number 11 truck on the outside lane, going up into the 4th position, getting a run on Jake Nichols now. He's going to try and continue his charge forward.
You're looking off of the back of your P2 truck right now. Logan Clampett hasn't been able to get to the bumper of Drummond off of the restart, but has also, again, just been out of touch of the cars behind him. So he watches on, maybe a quick glance to the mirror every now and then, but that 11 machine's coming. I think you got to be worried. Raymond's gotten about 4 trucks in the last 4 laps. He wants some more. Squeezed into the wall there was Jake Nichols. Got run out of road by Eric Heater. And Nichols, who went to the race lead and then put it on cruise control, led 30 laps, is struggling big time now. Down to P5, maybe that spot even at risk with the 10 of Johnny Avila looking to the inside. Won't happen there, but Nichols not looking as comfortable as he was when he had the clean air out front.
Heater immediately came on the radio and apologized as well, so I think the 26 maybe just getting a little bit tight in the corner, and that's not the first time we've seen that on this run. Track changing a little bit now. May see some of those trucks running the low line have difficulty staying down there when they are 2x2. I think that's a lot of the reason why Aaron Raymond is now making a move on Logan Clampett. He is making the outside line work. He's got his old friend in the 26 of Eric Heater trying to follow him through, as we have a bit of a battle now for our lead positions.
Eric Raymond restarted off of the last yellow in position number 8 and has driven to the front using the outside. He's been as low as 15th in this race at times, has gotten 7 spots gained off of the restart. He wants another one. He is ahead of Clampett at the stripe. Curious how difficult it's going to be for him to focus on the 3 if the 2 stays low, but in the end he does clear. And I think Eric Heater seeing, hey, topside's the way I need to go, so Heater going to go to the outside of Clampett. That's going to be a battle for 3rd, give it to the 26 car. And now the question is, we've seen 1 green flag pass for the lead so far tonight. Can we see number 2? What can Aaron Raymond do now that he's gotten to P2?
Another wild thing to think of is what you said earlier, is these trucks are based off the seating positions from that time trial event. We have the number 11 and the number 26 machine right now in 2nd and 3rd place, trying to disrupt the order here and make something happen. Now that we have a bunch of different trucks on the racetrack at the same time, it has completely changed the dynamic of this event, as Aaron Raymond is still trying to look towards the outside of our leader, Elliott Drummond. Drummond is trying to just not run the top line per se, but just kind of put enough of his truck there to keep the 11 behind. But the 11, for what we've seen so far, I don't think is going to settle for 2nd place. but there is only so long he could keep running this outside line before his equipment starts to fail him.
You're looking at an 8-truck jailbreak right now. They pulled away from 9th on back. Raymond tried to get to the outside. That time ran out of real estate. Let's see if the 3 can kind of coax the 11 into going low. Again, from everything that we've seen, if you're on the attack, you want to go to the outside. So the 3 of Drummond, one would suspect, would be a little bit defensive, almost kind of yielding high and leaving the bottom open. But this is exactly what he wants to see. And that's a battle for second, because Heater, maybe for a fleeting moment at that, gets a nose to the inside of the 11 for a challenge. We'll tuck back in line and reset, but more of that is what the 3 truck wants. He wants those trucks to fight each other, tear up their stuff, and allow him to save a little bit more coming this time to 30 to go. And look at the 26 car now to the outside. Eric Heater doing everything he can to pass the 11.
Give him a little bit of a shot going into 3. I think Aaron Raymond may have used up a little bit more of his right front than his compatriots. That patience of the other drivers paying off. He sailed it in real deep, did Aaron Raymond in the 11 machine on the 1 and 2 that time, but it's not going to work. Eric Heater making it work on the top side. He's got a heck of a run on the number 3 truck, but I don't think he's going to go for it right here. Elliott Drummond's truck placement is so smart. You see, even behind him, as they're side by side as well behind him for 3rd place. Keep in mind, too, any place on the podium is significant, but Aaron Raymond making all the, he just said on the radio as well, it's starting to get tight. So all that work, hoping maybe something happened behind him, I think is coming back to bite him as the 11. Still there, Evan, but is slowly working his way back now.
And the wheels are coming off on the 11. He's complaining about that tight condition. Marched through the field to second, thought that it was almost an inevitability that he was going to get a look at Drummond for the race lead, and then just kind of got teamed up on. A couple of trucks went high. There was a bit of contact between him and the 2 of Clampett, where Clampett loosened him up a bit on the exit of turn 2. It got him out of shape. He then subsequently kind of squeezed the 4 of Nichols into the wall, so the struggles get even worse for the 4 truck, who was dominant no more than 20 laps ago. He slipped to P8. It's the lowest we've seen him. So clearly different strategies. Push and then struggle late. Maybe some of these other trucks deciding to save early, push late. Right now the battle's for P2. Clampett in the 2 truck has gone under the 26 of Heater. We haven't seen many drivers make those passes on the bottom. Let's see if the 2 can get it done working with what he's got.
This shows how the track's evolving too. Again, that I thought earlier in the run that the lower line was going to have a little bit of understeer, a little bit of push on the exit of the corners. And so I heard some drivers complaining about that as well. But again, 26 to the back of Elliott Drummond. Tried to say this earlier, but he's so smart in the way he places his truck. He's not going to go straight to the bottom like you see most of the other trucks doing. He kind of waits a beat and then goes to the bottom. Just enough to get the thought of going too wide with Eric Heater out of his mind. Just enough to say, hey man, I'm still leading this race and you're going to stay back there, as nobody has told 4th, 5th, and 6th that they're not racing for anything. To the outside is Johnny Avila trying to get around Aaron Raymond and maybe join this fight for the top 3.
They're really fighting hard, but what this might cause is a continental divide if they continue to slow each other down. The 11 and the 10 have been side by side for so many laps in a row, and that time the 11 of Aaron Raymond's going to lose 3 spots in about 5 seconds. The 21 of Hawken pushed the 10 of Avila by. The 4 of Nichols followed through in the draft. And it is back to square one for the 11 of Aaron Raymond as he falls back to P7 where he had started off with the restart. Now up front, battle for the race lead. It's the 3 truck getting around lap traffic. Is it going to be a factor? It is. The 26 is going to have to go low. This is going to hurt Heater and Clampett on the entry to turn number 3. Again, good news for Elliott Drummond here because the 26 and the 2 couldn't get the entry they wanted, and it may even set up the 2 truck here for a challenge if he can look to the inside.
Logan's been taking peeks to the inside of Eric Heater here. Eric Heater, we've seen that truck be so strong on the outside. Turned in real late there, and we're going to see Logan take a look to the outside. Now maybe he's been holding his hand close to his chest, trying to make something happen. He's going to just have the nose in on Eric Heater, and he's got a heck of a run coming off of turn 2. Can he get the pass done before 3? And he clears that 26 machine, and that's Logan Clampett up to P2 here with just under 25 laps to go.
And I think that's the $2,000 move right there, is that high entry, get the nose there on exit, and complete the pass. It still seems like you gotta be topside. Clampett trying to do it again, but Drummond saw it coming. The 3 truck did not go to the bottom of the racetrack at that time. Parked it right in the middle. He's trying to be defensive and hold off the 2 car. And if you're enjoying this action, you can get in on it today, because with iRacing, every day is race day. Log on to iRacing.com for more information on how you can start your sim racing career today. Up to 40% off new iRacing memberships. Get it on the fun and see yourself on track in no time. Clampett bottom that time. 3 sees it. I think we're seeing more mirror driving out of Elliott Drummond that we've seen out of any leader so far tonight. 21 laps to go next time.
His truck placement, as you said earlier, has just been so smart. He runs his line, does what he needs to do, and then just says, okay, well, someone's close to me now. Doesn't go for like a full-blown block, but just enough to kind of keep that thought out of the person's mind. But Logan Clampett has so much experience on ovals. One of, if not one of the most experienced drivers that I've known. I've seen his name in almost everything, whether that's the eNASCAR series or any sort of league. He is always there, and he is always racing. So to try and keep Logan Clampett behind now, when he's got his sight sets on first place, is going to be a mountain of a task for Elliott Drummond. But he has $2,000 worth of inspiration to try and keep that number 3 machine to the front.
That's a look off of the back of your race leader, Elliott Drummond. Logan Clampett sits in second. Hard to believe that with how much that 2 Chevys, but up front tonight, he has yet to lead a single lap. 30 laps led for Drummond, 30 laps led for Nichols, and 60 laps complete here at iRacing's virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. The top 2 pulling away. Clampett looks low. Big block for Elliott Drummond to the inside and then the outside.
Almost getting contact there. You see Elliott just kind of, I think in his mind, going, now, if I let this 2 go, it's over for me. He is throwing everything but the kitchen sink, trying to keep Logan Clampett behind him. But Logan Clampett has looked once, he's looked twice. He is absolutely trying to get that number 2 truck towards the lead. Another block from Elliott Drummond going into 1 and 2. Again, doesn't quite run the high line, keeps it middle. We've seen the 3 be very comfortable towards the bottom. So now he has to get out of his comfort zone and go straight into Logan's.
Shades of, what was it, Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick not that long ago in the Cup Series. It's Drummond just putting that truck wherever the 2 wants to go. Basically drive it out of the rear view mirror. Big run for the 2 though, and those kinks on the quad oval gonna be the opening that Clampett needs. Side by side for the race lead, but the bottom has not been able to close out many of these fights tonight. Can Clampett force it through? Not that time. Couldn't get back to the gas, and Drummond again defends.
Fighting for his life now, trying to keep the institution of Logan Clampett behind him. Logan has tried every line, and the more he keeps trying that outside line, we saw with the 11, who's now back in 7th, gonna burn up your right front. Elliott's still trying not to run all the way high. I got to imagine he's keeping his tire life in mind as well, because I don't think at this point we're seeing any green flag pit stops, Evan. So unless we have another late race caution, this is going to be the run to the checker. So trying to maintain his equipment while also trying to keep that number 2 machine behind, as we still got prizes to battle out for, as Eric Heater and Johnny Avila are fighting for 3rd place as well.
They're not going to be inclined to yield to one another, because only one of those trucks going to walk away with a prize. P3 up for grabs, but the fact that they keep fighting is hurting them, because they've been side by side for so many laps. The leaders have pulled a second clear. It is very clearly at this moment a 2-horse race up at the front of the field. Still side by side for 3rd. Heater top side on Avila. Hawken in the mix. That's the trio there as Jake Nichols watches on from P6, but it is all of that great fighting that has allowed those top 2 to check out. First time we've seen that kind of an advantage for the first 2 trucks in the running order all night long. 15 laps to go at Charlotte. It is Drummond versus Clampett. It is Ford versus Chevrolet at the front of the field. Grand prize, that $2,000 value T818 full kit. But again, 2nd and 3rd in the payouts as well. And that's why this battle with the 26 and company is still so important.
Yeah, they're still fighting for the wheelbase, but Logan and Elliott are fighting for basically what is a top-to-bottom brand new sim racing setup. wheel, pedals, handbrake. We can see some of the rallycross stuff that we can offer on iRacing, shifter, that everything that you would want, and all brand new right out of the box. So these two in the front, they're still fighting pretty hard, but like we said, there's still a lot to play for, as Brandon Hawken now is going to be the one trying to challenge Eric Heater in fourth place, and I'm sure he knows what's in front of him as well and what he's racing for. Brandon's so experienced in so many different things on the sim, as again, side by side for the lead is Logan Clampett. He's going to sail it into turn 3, and can he make it stick on Elliott Drummond? Elliott goes for the crossover. They are still side by side as the two brushes the wall.
Drummond leads at the stripe, but for Clampett, his big thing is, can he stay tight? Oh, they wreck! The race leaders are into the outside wall. Drummond's in the fence. Clampett keeps it going, but it's going to allow Eric Heater to go third to first. He drives through, takes the lead, and no caution. We stay green.
They kept it both pointing straight. Unfortunately, the 3 just kind of trying to close the nose on the 2. Again, I think he knew if Logan gets by me, it's game over for me. But he made the risk, and now he is totally out of the points. He's out of the money, back in 8th place. But Eric Heater getting promoted from 3rd to 1st, and he has to control this field for 11 more laps, and he'll be going home with a brand new top-to-bottom Thrustmaster Sim Racing setup.
I think you're right, and that was such a smart move, too, from Clampett, knowing he was going to sail it into 3, full well knowing that it was going to give Drummond an opportunity to get back inside of him. Watch the replay, but the key was he didn't care if Drummond could cross him over. He just needed to stay topside, and Drummond knew that as well, and forced the issue, trying to seal off Clampett topside. If Clampett's nose stayed in front into turn 1, then Clampett was going to get that spot. That's the advantage the outside had. Drummond had done such a good job of defending Clampett from going to the outside, and it was kind of that 3D chess move by Clampett to go for the undercut, wash out wide on the exit of 4, but get the spot, and now a caution changes everything again.
I was about to say Logan's not out of this, but for way back in the back, the 11 catching the nose of the 16, and then a bit of a meeting of the minds there towards the end, but that has blown this race wide open. I thought Eric was going to sail his way into a come-from-behind victory, but it is all still to play for. Again, no overtime here in this race, no green-white checkers, but we should have a handful of laps left. And the 2 still has some fight left in him. He still has some pace left in him. We are not over, not by a long shot.
Clampett stayed in this race. Meanwhile, Drummond, who did get the worst of that contact for the lead into the outside wall, brought the truck to pit road. So Clampett still got the track position and another opportunity to bounce back and still maybe win this race. Let's take a look at what happened. It was Christopher Schella and Aaron Raymond for 6th and 7th on track. Wasn't a full wreck, but very similar. 16 kind of tried to clear himself. They get into each other, and it just so happened right there, blending onto the racetrack, was Michael Romanidis, completely unrelated to the 2-truck battle that would have otherwise not been a wreck. But they come down across the 17. They're wrecking, and here we go. Everybody down pit road. You would suspect fuel and 4 on the longest green flag run of the night, but let's see.
Yeah, we'll see who comes out in the lead. I feel so bad for Romanitis. He was just coming out of the pit lane. He's been out of it. He's a lap down now and getting caught up in that. But another thing, too, I think they're obviously going to have our leader still maintain his position, Eric Heater, but I think Brandon Hawken just edged out Logan Clampett for P3 or P2. It was so close, as Jake Nickel
2 tires.
Taking 2 tires. That's another thing too, is this is not, for iRacing points. This is not a race in a championship. You either take the prize home or you don't. So I don't think anybody from 15th from 1st to 15th, anybody on the lead lap right now is not leaving anything to chance. They're going to do everything that they could possibly do to try and get towards the front of this field. This is not over, and it still has everything to play for, and everybody is going to be hungry to try to get in the top 3, if not towards the front of the field.
And remember, earlier on, it was Jake Nichols who was the dominant car, led 30 laps after driving through to the front of the field. I believe, lost it on a pit cycle and just could not get back and struggled. So why not, right? You get nothing for going for the 4-tire stop and being satisfied with, I guess, what was P5 where he was running. So he feels like maybe this is an opportunity to win the race. And to your point, with a lack of green-white checkers, it could be as many as, 6 laps that he needs to defend up front. Could be as short as a couple hundred feet on 2 restarts, depending on how the yellows may fly in this. So I think a worthwhile gamble for Jake Nichols, who, again, there's no points, there's no moral victories. You got to be top 3, and he is absolutely going for it with this decision.
Yeah, and I mean, we were too busy watching all the battles, but we didn't talk a lot about Jake Nichols, but that's almost going to play into his hands. Coming out on 2 tires, I think he's confident that he didn't use up the rubber like everybody else did. So yeah, he's going to be on 2 less new tires than everybody else, but also wasn't scrapping, wasn't door-to-door, wasn't fighting as much as everybody else. So to your point, Evan, this could be 2 laps. We could go all the way to our scheduled distance. And who has nailed the restart today on the bottom line? The number 4 of Jake Nichols.
And that's exactly where he'll find himself lined up. And let's kind of look big picture again and remind you what is on the line. All of these drivers qualified in through a months-long time attack session. The top 18 drivers ended up making the start, and they're all racing for that first place prize of a $2,000 value. It's a full Thrustmaster T818 kit. It's the wheelbase, it's 2 rims, the pedals, the shifter, the handbrake. To your point, Keenan, essentially a top-to-bottom refurb of your entire sim rig is on the line.
Yeah, and that's everything you could ever want. You have an H-pattern shifter if you want to get into the trucks and the Xfinity cars. You have the open and a closed rim with the quick release on the T818. That's wonderful. So you can do all of that stuff as well. You got a handbrake, so if we want to see you catching some dirt, we can go get that as well. And on top, and the great set of TLCM pedals, and on top of that, $50 from iRacing, just to say, hey, we got a bunch of new tracks, we got a bunch of new content that came out. Why don't you go try it out with all your brand new stuff?
And that prize for 2nd and 3rd, no slouch either. It may just be the base, but that's still about a $600-700 value, an iRacing gift card on top of it. So plenty of incentive for the drivers who will finish this race eventually in the top 3. And Jake Nichols, a driver who has 68 career starts in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, looking to get a big win here tonight, is the only car on 2 tires. Everybody else went for 4. Fuel was not necessary. Some may have taken it depending on how they'd prefer the handling of that truck to be, but it is very clearly 2 versus 4, and Nichols versus everybody. There are no green-white checkers, so if a caution flies inside of the final 3 or 4 laps, it'll be close. This race would end under the yellow. So Nichols, his objective, a little bit unclear up front, but he'll be the control car on the old tires. Pace car down and in. Can Jake Nichols make the tire strategy call work? Green flag in the air. 6 laps to go. Not a great start for Eric Heater. He bobbles a bit from P2.
That was the best case scenario from Jake Nichols. He went about as fast as he could in that restart zone. He's got a bit of a lead right now, but disposing of Eric Heater is Brandon Hawken and Logan Clampett, and they've already got a run on Jake Nichols. Can he keep these 2 drivers behind? We have Brandon Hawken all over the back bumpers. He sails towards the inside of the 4 machine.
Nichols knows he's on the backhands, tried to defend topside, but it's not going to work. First time tonight, a lap led for Brandon Hawken. 3 wide for 3rd. Here comes Logan Clampett to the inside. On the bottom of Hawken, battling nose to nose for the race lead.
26 is going to catch the wall going into 1. He's out of this now. It's a 3 or 4-way fight as Brandon Hawken is to the outside line. We've seen it work so well today, but Logan Clampett's trying to steal a little bit that away, run the middle. Brandon is not afraid to throw doors with the former eNASCAR driver, and they are still side by side as we are with 4 laps to go. And no line, nothing given, no quarter, as if you're Matt Spalding entering the conversation, who's been peeing nowhere all night, and now he is in a podium position.
Can Clampett get clear? They touch. Hawkins stays on the outside. Both of the trucks in 1st and 2nd have led their first laps of the race, in the last 2 trips around the racetrack. Avila inside of the 19 is Spalding behind. Maybe slowly for a moment holds up the driver in third. 1 truck through the grass at 3 laps to go. Advantage still Clampett to the inside, but Hawken using the run topside. Hangs with them. Clampett trying to force the 21 high. Seems to have the better truck at the moment, but Hawken's got the preferred lane.
He's still trying to make it work, like we said, but if anyone, they are adoring each other on the back straight. Logan's trying to make sure he can put his truck as high as he can. He's been trying to nose that truck up as well on exits, just trying to take the line away from Brandon Hawken, but Brandon Hawken is not scared of the number 2 machinist. Hello, welcome to the 19, big shot to the back of Logan Clampett.
Thought Spalding wanted to go all the way to the inside, maybe 3 wide, didn't have the spot. Now Avila looks topside. If they fight for third, it may benefit the top 2. Here in 3 and 4, Clampett has been bullying Hawken by pushing him up and up and up, closer to the wall every single lap. Here he goes again. Slide job, shuts the door. Clampett gets to the outside. Hawken back to the inside. Side by side. 1 lap to go at Charlotte.
He's got the push from the 19. Can he make it work? We saw Logan get that move done for the lead and ended up catching the wall. Makes it stick this time as Brandon's the one trying to make the close on the back straightaway. They are still side by side with $2,000 on the line.
Clampett's got the top side. He'll look to get the run off of the corner. Is there anything that Hawken can do on the bottom? Clampett pinches him down. They touch once, touch twice. Clampett's into the wall. They wreck from behind. Now it's Hawken into the outside wall. And at the start finish, Logan Clampett takes the checkered flag.
You know, Logan bouncing off the wall and took Brandon Hawken, threw a hand Brandon Hawken in the wall. Such a great run from that 21 machine, but Logan coming back from the contact, coming back from that late race caution, is going to take the win and be your winner in the Thrustmaster Time Attack event. He is going home with a brand new top to bottom sim racing setup from Thrustmaster.
It was the same move that Logan Clampett put on Elliott Drummond not that long ago. Big drive into 3, knowing you're going to give it up on exit, but swapping the bottom for the top. It put Clampett where he wanted to be on the last lap of this race, and the 21 machine knew that. Put him in the wall. They wrecked even behind in the battle for 3rd and 4th, and after all of that contact, Clampett gets the win. And how about Eric Heater and Alexander White, who were 5th and 6th in the final corner? They will come across the stripe 2nd and 3rd. They're in the prize pool. Gann and Janke round out the top 5 with Raymond, Hawken, Vitten, Nichols, and Garza, your top 10.
And Christopher Shella, Jake Cummings coming in 11th and 12th. And then again, we saw Elliott Drummond trying to make a push for the lead there. Unfortunately, he's only going to come home in 13th or first car lap down. And there's everybody else, everyone getting caught up in incidents. But yeah, again, huge, hard-fought night. But your winner, we're being joined by your winner of Logan Clampett.
Yeah, we're with him now. Logan, congratulations on winning this Thrustmaster Time Attack. And that's probably one of the fastest trucks I've seen to only lead 5 of 80 laps, but you were in the mix the entire time. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we got to the front pretty quick. Clean air was everything, especially in long run. I was faster than Elliott, but I just couldn't get by him. Then I think he just came up a little too high and kind of, I mean, he didn't really take me out, but he took himself out. He was fast, and I think he could have kept the lead if he wouldn't have done that. But yeah, you know, it's just it's close racing, and it's tough racing like that. You know, I'm sorry to Brandon. I tried to just get it off the wall, get down to him. So it's tough. I think he probably would have put me in the wall either way off 4. I'm not really sure. Still kind of shaking a little bit because that was some. It was intense racing. It was fun, but yeah, it's tough racing like that, man. I really, you know, just like bumper to bumper and stuff. So that's all you can do.
What I want to talk about the move a lap prior. The big swing to the inside, kind of pull up in front of the 21, maybe just trying to shut the door outright. But when he got to your bottom, I don't know if you were that worried about that, because it reminded me of the move you put on Elliott Drummond even earlier, right? The top side just seemed to be the place from our perspective to get the moves done, and you seemed like you would trade out kind of overshooting the corner if it meant kind of swapping lanes and getting the top side. It seemed like that's where you wanted to put yourself.
Yeah, the top side had a lot more grip and momentum, especially long run. That short run, it just kept, coming off of the corner because of the line of cars behind the guy on the outside. It just kind of carried that momentum on the high side. So I was kind of stuck. So I wanted to try and slide up in front of Brandon, see if I can be in that advantage on the outside. But, when I was racing him, I wasn't trying to wall him or anything. I was trying to out arc him, and I gave him slight doors and stuff. If I didn't do that, then I probably would have just gotten trained on the top. But I needed to hold my ground and hold my momentum, and I know how to do that without wrecking people and without putting them in the wall, just to try and get them a little bit more inconsistent. So it's it's very hard, and you have to race very smart in that way. And I tried to race people, as clean as I could without screwing myself over. But yeah, I think those were kind of the top moves, was to try and slide job people. I know a couple other people through the field were trying to pull them all race, because that's just the line to be in. It's really hard to pass, and once you're in clean air, it's you're pretty good, besides maybe sliding the rears off the corner.
And in the end, you end up as the winner in this Thrustmaster time attack at Charlotte. You walk away with the grand prize tonight, the full T818 full kit for the sim rig. Logan, we appreciate the time and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this on, and Thrustmaster as well. I'll definitely put out a tweet once I get those and help out a little bit. I know there wasn't a big showing tonight. I know 40 people qualified. But it was a lot of fun either way, so thank you guys.
Your race winner tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is Logan Clampett in Charlotte Victory Lane, and you got the perspective right from the driver, and kind of along the lines, Keena, with what we were thinking, kind of at all costs get to the outside, and then when it gets to the last lap and you're exchanging blows, it's kind of got to come to a heat at some point, and they both end up into the wall. Clampett gets the win, but if that start-finish line was kind of like Dega, give him an extra 100 feet, I'll tell you what, that 26 was coming quick from P5.
And how about the 1-2 coming from P last all the way into the money? We were like, I don't know why he's starting back there. It may have been a strategy call. It ended up paying out for him, and he's going to go home with a brand new T818 and $25 of iRacing gift credit. But to counter Logan's point, yeah, there was only 18 trucks out there, but nobody told those 18 trucks there was only 18 trucks out there. We had a lot of fighting all throughout the field. Got a little spit spread out there towards the end, but a thrilling finish as we see the number 2 machine of Logan Clampett take home the full top to bottom iRacing. That's the game. That's the sim we're playing. The Thrustmaster setup, and I'm sure he's going to be stoked with a bunch of new equipment.
And I was going to say, sometimes, 18 trucks just like that gives you a better product and more exciting than if you've got 30, 40, however many, just for the sake of the car count. I think the best of the best from the time trial and the time attack showed up, and they put on a show here tonight. Until next time, though, that is it for us here tonight from Charlotte. I want to thank all of the iRacing community members who qualified through the time attack to get into this race, and of course all of those drivers who showed up and participated here tonight. On behalf of the entire team at iRacing, on behalf of our partners at Thrustmaster, and for your broadcast team tonight, for Keenan Kusin and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Logan Clampett, who is the 2024 Thrustmaster Time Attack Challenge. Good night from Charlotte.